And I'm talking about something that I love, love, love more than anything in the world. It is American Ninja Warrior. That's right. I'm a huge ninja fan. So season 12 just started and it is awesome. I'm so grateful that they are taking this opportunity to keep everybody safe and get a lot of positive messages out there for all the fans. Me! I'm a big fan. You can tell because I have my Weatherman shirt. I am a Joe Moravsky super fan. It is the most positive show on TV right now, and it just gets me charged in just so many ways. And so what I've decided to do is merge American Ninja Warrior with my love of games. And so what I'm going to give you in this video is my version of the coolest American Ninja Warrior course in game form. For me, the game that feels like this really interesting marathon of challenges and just social interaction and player interaction with just such a thinker as the base is a game called Crystal Palace. Now, I'm not going to give you every last in and out of this game in this video because the game rulebook is 24 pages. The game box says that it takes around 60 to 150 minutes to play, and I think it's going to be on that longer end of things, particularly if it's your first time. So just be prepared to sit at the table for a little bit, but it's just not going to feel like it because these minutes are going to fly by. You are constantly making choices and adjusting your strategy based on what everybody else at the table is doing. The downtime that you have, you're planning your turn, you're planning your actions, you're planning steps and steps and steps ahead. And that's what you do in Ninja. You can't just look at the first stage and the first step and say, okay, here's one obstacle. You're looking onto the next one. You're thinking about what your next steps are going to be because this game really, really benefits the players. It really boosts your score if you're making those choices and planning for the next year and the year after. Honestly, I think the game taught me so much more about this historical event than I ever learned in my history classes or in school. And so that's another thing I really like about this game. It has so much packed into this really cool event, which is the World Exhibition of 1851. Each player is going to represent a country that is trying to garner the most attention and get the most people interested in their inventions and their thinkers. There's a research track on everyone's player board, and that's essentially your investments in very specific benefits that you have to acquire at locations on the board, and they start covering up these spaces that are going to be negative points at the end of the game. I remember when I played, I did that and I covered up the most spaces, and I think that gave me a really great advantage over the other two players that I was playing with, and they didn't do that. They focused on other things, and so they really took that negative point hit at the end of the game when they didn't have as much research. There are so many ways to earn victory points in the game, and again, that goes back to all the different places that you can go to take your action. The black market is a really interesting place to go because as you enter, it costs more and more to go in there, but the players get knocked down at the end of each round, and you might even bump other people down when it gets too full because everyone's trying to go to the black market to get like these immediate bonuses. And then at the end of the game, if you're still on the track, then you get victory points for it. There's a buzz track, and buzz is how you generate all of that excitement for your country and for what you're doing. And it's just a great way of like noting how much you're investing in that kind of marketing or advertising of your country. And again, you get victory points at the end for being high up on that track, but as you cross certain thresholds, it's going to give you those victory points and or bonuses throughout the game that are going to be really beneficial. The two card decks, the patents and the characters, can sometimes be a little frustrating because of the variety and the turn order in which you get to select those cards. And so they come in two different decks, the patent deck and the character deck, and they're actually paired. So if you find the character, the person who created or designed that patent, then you're going to get kind of a bonus for pairing them up together. I found that to be very difficult during my game just because of the 3 players. We didn't get that much of a variety of cards coming through. And then if I wanted one, I wasn't usually first in player order, and so I wasn't able to get the card that I wanted. But getting those cards are really, really important because they have victory points and bonuses that you absolutely need during the game. The other really cool thing about these cards is it's all about timing. If you get cards early on, usually they're more beneficial, but sometimes buying a character or a patent later on in the third year, you might actually get more victory points for that. And the longer you keep a character, the more they might cost, and the cost is always at the bottom of the character card based on what round you're in. The other thing that you're really struggling to do during this game is maintain your income, because you're always sliding down that income track. Much like the black market, there's this automatic drop at the end of each round, and so you have to continually earn back your income, and going higher up on the track is definitely where you want to be if you want to get money at the end of each round to start the next round. You're always fighting with money. Oh my gosh, you're always so poor. Your countries, in the story they describe in the rule book, your countries don't send you to this exhibition with all the money in your pockets. And so you have to really skimp and just scrape by, and boy, poof, watch out for those loans. All right, just to give you a little insight on how Crystal Palace is kind of like a ninja course. But first, I'm gonna do a couple reps. Whew, okay, glad you're still there. The really cool thing in the game takes place during those 7 phases. The first of which is players deciding what side of the die they want to put their dice on, which means that you can pick a 6 if you want, because 6s are usually better. They get priority when it comes to actions and initiative. But a 6 costs $6, and a pip of 1 costs only $1. And so what you're doing is you're deciding what value of your pips you want to use, which is equivalent to money, to send out during that worker phase. And that's so smart, because in the early game, me and everyone else that was playing the game decided, oh, I want 4s and I want 5s, and ooh, I'm going to put a 6. And then by the end of the game, we were so poor, we were all just trying to beat each other with 1s and 2s. And so you kind of see this dynamic of how you value the pips, and if you really need that priority, or you're required to have a die on a certain location. And so to go in locations, you actually have to have 4s or 2s or anything that or higher. So that's the really fun part of this game, is selecting your workers and how powerful they are. The other part of the game is when you place a die in a location, that die, just because it's placed first, doesn't mean that you're going to go first. The highest value die goes first, and then they get priority. So if I place a 4 in a location and then someone else places a 5, they're going to move their die down and they're going to go before me. And in some cases, players may not get to use their dice at all because some locations don't have enough actions for the placement in the beginning when you're putting your workers out. Now, timing is kind of everything in this game, and valuing what you have at just the right price, because you have to make those instinctual choices, and you have to hedge your bets, and you have to go in with a great strategy, but you have to be able to adjust accordingly. And so I see that happening all the time on American Ninja Warrior, and you're doing that in Crystal Palace almost the entire time. There's so much going on that you probably might get overwhelmed in this game, and that's okay. But I think it warrants multiple plays, and as we all saw last year, sometimes it takes you season after season after season of training and practicing and running and just working your body for you to climb to Mount Midoriyama stage 4. I mean, Drew Dreshel did it. And I remember before he won that season, he said, you know what I did? I changed. I did some things different, and I really, really took this seriously. And I did my best to plan for this course. And honestly, he did. He did it. And he's the ultimate ninja, and it's so cool. And so I see that happening with the game. First time through, you may not win it, you may not get it, but I think play after play, you're going to get the hang of Crystal Palace, and you're going to love the theme so much. All right, ninja training never stops. A couple more reps. Whew. All that ninja training is pretty exhausting, but so rewarding. The more I talk about this game, the more it makes me want to play it again, because all I'm thinking about is how much fun I have and how just interactive and engaging this game is. And again, I don't really see too many people talking about this game or playing it the way that I think it should be. So please give Crystal Palace a chance. I know it's hardy, I know it's going to take a while, but I think it's going to be well worth your time. And if you're me, you finish playing a game like this, it feels like, I know this is goofy, but it feels like running a ninja course. It is going to be like exhausting, but also so exhilarating. And if you have the pleasure of winning the game, then it kind of feels like you're hitting the buzzer at the end after climbing the warped wall. And there's really nothing better than that, just excitement and joy and looking over at Matt Eisman and Akbar Bajaviamila and being like, yeah, I did it! And you point down, you're like, Surrey Hall! Yeah, don't forget Surrey. Anyway, I love Ninja, and I really love Crystal Palace. It's a game that you should be playing right now. Drew Dreshel might have won last season, and he is absolutely an American Ninja Warrior, but I am ready for Joe Moravsky, the Weatherman, to get it Season 12. I love American Ninja Warrior so much. Like, I go crazy during American Ninja Warrior season.